Hello everybody, this is Travis Simulance Hours of Strictly Better Gaming, and we're jumping into a Magic Origins? That would be like from the state of Oregon? That doesn't make any sense. Origins 8-4 Talking's hard. Can I stop this and start over? I could, but I'm not gonna, because I have to do it live when I'm on the stream, so we should just do it here. Let's try it again. Hey guys, this is Travis Simulance Hours, bringing you a fast build Magic Origins 8-4 single elimination draft. That sounded way better, right? Okay, cool. We'll be back with the first pick in just a second. Or this will happen. What is that? I'm still... Okay. Things happened. Well, that was weird because I tried to get out of the event and it wouldn't let me. Like, no, you are playing in this event. But I will just summarize that as Magic Online is a quality program. Now, while I have seen my buddy Josh Frankel do some fun things with Animus Awakening and Zyndakar's Royal, I don't think I can truthfully in good conscience take it here. We've got kind of a crap pack, which is also kind of okay, because the more I've played in this format, the more I've realized you don't really need great cards. You just need a deck that has a game plan. I do generally like big green cards that do things. I also like white cards that do things. And I think I'm probably just going to pick a 2-drop out of this pack. There's Cleric of the Forward Order, which is a little better because it's white, and white is a pretty strong color in this format. There's Timberpack Wolf, which is fine. It's cool because if you can get multiples, it gets better. And I do like green quite a bit in this format too. I guess you could consider a Glory Chaser, but that says I'm being aggressive, whereas these two you could play in any deck. I think I'm actually going to take the Timberpack Wolf. It's a weak pack. The payoff is high if we get more, and if we don't, well, we don't. And then the ultimate stacked pack of awesome, amazing goodness appears, in which we have multiple cards I would be happy to first pick. Thopter Spy Network. Get to the Thopter! Knightly Valor. Fiery Impulse. Unholy Hunger. Aerial Volley. Okay, not so much Aerial Volley, but like all of these cards are first pick worthy. And I have to decide in 40 seconds or less which one I'm taking. So I'm thinking, if I first picked the Cleric of the Forward Order, I'd talk myself into the Knightly Valor. And this is a big card and it can have an impact. But you know, somebody passed us a Thopter Spy Network. This card can dominate a board. We're not green, by the way. This is just like, if we did end up green, this would be okay. What the heck do you even take over this? There's an uncommon missing? So are we to presume they took a Whirler Rogue or a Sentinel of the Watch? Probably a Sentinel? I don't know. I can't talk myself out of it. Like, if you're not going to have a little bit of fun in your draft, I don't know what kind of deviant human being you are. But you should take the Thopter Spy Network. And you should play the Thopter Spy Network. And you should kill people with the Thopter Spy Network. If I'd taken the Fiery Impulse, maybe I'd take the Boggart Brute. But I didn't. So I'm willing to commit to green and take another one of these. Well, if one's good, two's better, right? This is another relatively weak pack with Enshrouding Mist, Boggart Brute, and Erois' Champion being the highlights. And I'm not going to go into white for the Mists or necessarily into red for the Brute. If I pass an Impulse, it's kind of stupid to take the Brute. Let's take Timberpack Wolf number 2. Maybe we'll get like 500 of those and it'll be great. That could happen. A blue-green deck is typically going to be a tempo deck. So Return to the Aether is something I like quite a bit in those. We could go deep and have some fun with the Toots. We're getting it early enough that maybe we could build a whole deck around it, but it still seems a bit unlikely. I don't mind an Empath either. We're not seeing great green cards here, but we've got some 2-drops, and that's fine. I think I'll just take a Return to the Aether. If there's some Craci opened up that we get, that's pretty good. This is a good sign for us. So we're 4 picks in, and the cards that are missing from here are not premium blue and green cards. There's still some playables here with the Sentinel. This is about where I'd take a Disperse. I have first picked many Conclave Naturalists and will continue to do so, as there are a lot of annoying artifacts and enchantments. And I do want a Llanowar Empath in all of my green decks, usually just one. But because the format revolves so heavily around 2/2s, a 4-mana 2/2 that gives you some percentage of hitting a card is quite a good one. So let's take the Naturalists. So far we're just now pretty comfortable in green, but could easily be blue with or without the Thopta spy network. Although we're starting to do a thing here. We're still in pack 1 and have 3 Timber Pack Wolves. I think I'd be happy with a deck of 24 Timber Pack Wolves, and we may actually do it here because there's another one. Okay. The most I've ever gotten before was 3, but it's starting to look like we might be able to do a thing. So the question here is Return to the Aether incentive enough to just snap up a Send to Sleep? And I mean, blue-green tempo maybe? Its Rune Servitor is clearly better and interacts with the Thopter Spy network and gives us, again, just a preponderance of 2-drops, which we'd probably like. I do like a Picklebore too, but I think I'll just play the Servitor. It gives us an out to play the Thopter Spy network. It's a 2-drop. We can be fairly happy with it. None of these are actually cards, is the only problem here. Like, Gather the Pack pseudo does a job. I guess it's kind of cute that we can gather the pack on our Timber Pack Wolves and then we can get an alpha and it's going to be great. That's what we want, right? A Somberwald alpha. I don't think I'm actually going to want to play much of this. Meh. Take a Construct. It does a thing with a spy network. I don't like it though. Take an Aerial Volley, stick it over here. I do like the Hitchclaw Recluse. I've talked with Dave some on stream about this, but initially I was pretty low on this card. But as a thing to block stuff while you're ramping up to your big green spells, I kind of like it. I actively dislike Calculated Dismissal, though. That's not really something I want to play in draft. Whereas double Aerial Volley for a blue deck is good. Of note, we're still not blue. We have some minor incentive to be blue, but not a big one. So if like we get a Zendikar Incarnate or whatever the guy is, we could easily just grab that and say, okay, screw it, we're red. This is a position I like to be in. We've got outs to be in blue and some pretty good blue cards, but we're really just kind of gathering the pack here. Molten Vortex is a card I like quite a bit. Those of you who have watched the stream ever know that I'm quite fond of Watercourser. If we're going to abandon blue, it would be for this Suppression Bonds, because that gives us access to something we don't have yet, which is namely a Suppression Bonds, a way to kill their stuff. So I should take this if I think we're going to be a little light on that. Actually, despite my overwhelming love for Watercourser, it is probably the best blue common. I think Suppression Bonds is a safer pick here. If white's open from this direction and we get a few good cards, that's fine. If there was a reasonable green card here, I'd slam it, but there's not. I mean, we'll happily play an Orchard Spirit, but if I have to first pick them to get them, then I'm in the wrong color anyway. Here's an interesting one. I do typically like a Rog's Passage in green decks. We've got a lot of good red here. Like a lot of good red. And Acolyte of the Inferno can just win a game, because it's so damn hard to block. Elvish Visionary is pretty good. Lightning Javelin's good removal. I think based on the picks that I have so far, it looks like this was a red heavy pack and somebody just took a rare, which is fine. I'm actually going to take the Cleric of the Forward Order. Am I going to do that, or am I going to take the Elvish Visionary? Because the Cleric does play nicely with the Suppression Bonds, but so does the Visionary. Like, and it's just green. Yeah, I should take the green card. I know I'm green. I think I'll do that. Ooh. Conclave Naturalist versus Leaf Gilda. I think the Naturalist is just a better card. Like, you're going to draw lands, and this deck already has kind of a plan for 2-drops, which is cast all the Timber Pack Wolves and then kill people. There's a Turn to Frog that we might be interested in. I've started to like Alchemist Vial more and more, and we could wheel another Hitchclaw Recluse, but yeah, let's get double Naturalists. They're just good. They're just good, okay? They're good. I'm going to take relatively unexciting Farika's Disciple here. It does feel a role in the deck that needs filling, which is something that can block and trade for big stuff and turn into a threat late game. So we're pretty happy with that. Now we have to decide, is Thopter Spy Network plus our 0 artifacts, because presumably we're not going to main deck these. It would kind of surprise me if we did. Better than, I guess, Return to the Aether plus Watercourser. Is that better than Suppression Bonds plus nothing? Because if it is, I should just take the Orchard Spirit and play the damn Orchard Spirit. But if it's not, I should take the Water Courser and play that. I don't know. I felt like blue was open for from the other direction, but we haven't seen any claustrophobias. I'm going to take the Water Courser, but that's probably a close-ish pick. There's a Shaman of the pack. We haven't really seen any black. And we don't have a whole lot of elves, so it's probably not something we're interested in. I could see pretty easily playing a Yeva's Force Mage just for something to do on 3 that adds a little more pressure to the board. I don't hate that. I like Honored Hierarch if you can reasonably be on the play some percentage of the game, but like it's just a 1-mana 1/1 if you can't get the little guy through. It's like if I could have 2 Force Mages and then take it, I might be more interested in it, but I'm just not yet. Dwynen's Elite is something we're quite interested in, as it's a 2-drop and it does a thing, and it's probably a signal that green's open. We need to get some Titanic growths at some point. I would like those, but I don't know, every time I've played a deck that's just chock full of 2-drops, I've never been disappointed. Speaking of 2-drops, there's another one. I think I might actually want the first Empath, because like all of our 2-drops are these aggressive, we want to attack you 2-drops. And I think it's reasonable we may see one more Timberpack Wolf. So I just want an Empath? That can't be right, can it? Maybe I'm crazy. I do want an Empath in this deck, but I'm taking the Elvish Visionary. Just too good. Now I'll take an Orchard Spirit. You can be in my deck. And we'll take a Scrapskin Drake of Sadness. I don't like that card because it can't block. I don't know that I'm even playing the first Hitchclaw Recluse now, because the deck is stacked up so heavy at 2 that I may not need it. Whereas I may actually want the Ringwarden Owl as a finisher. It's not looking like the Spy Network's going. I have played Stratus Walk before and don't hate it. This is a weird draft. We've got like green dudes. That is what I have drafted. Is dudes that are green. We have not seen any of the laser pointer cards. What is that? Fierce Instincts or something. The fight card. It has Nissa like stabbing someone with a laser pointer. Maybe we'll get to see one, because I think it'd be pretty good in this deck. You know, removal in general. That's why I'm still kind of hinging on maybe we just play this Suppression Bonds. Wild Instincts, that's the card I was thinking about. But I think Dwynen may just be better. We're already heavy green. We have a couple of elf shenanigans going on. I mean, not a lot, but some. And the fact that it's a 3/4 reach is just awesome. Maybe some chance we spin a Titanic Growth here, because, I mean, somebody has to be taking all of them, right? Well, now we've got to pick between the Willerog, the Roxmaulers, the Dwynen's Elite. So I think Spy Network is probably not a thing we're doing. And if I take this out, then we're saying, all right, who needs removal? We're just going to play a deck that's all creatures all the time. And I don't know how I feel about that. Although Whirler Rogue is one of the best cards in the set. And Rox Maulers is a phenomenal threat. And Dwynen's Elite's just good. I'm going to take the Whirler Rogue because I'm human. Alright, I think Bounding Crisis is enough to get me off of white. It's still kind of interesting that there's a Fiery Impulse here. Are we going to play a deck that's just 20 creatures and a Return to the Aether? I mean, I kind of don't like that, but okay. All dudes, all the time .deck. Foundry of the Consoles looks like something we could probably run in this deck. Like, our mana's not absurd. And if it's all dudes, then maybe having a land that turns into a dude is good. Like, I really just want some removal spells, which I'm probably not going to get. So maybe we just take this and consider running it. Might of the Masses, Wild Instincts. These are things I would like a lot more of that I don't have. I think I want the Wild Instincts over the Might of the Masses, but I would sing praise for a late Titanic Growth or Might of the Masses at this point. Or another Wild Instincts would be just fine. We would definitely take all of those. It's weird. We got 4 Timberpack Wolves in the first pack, and then no more. No more wolves for you. This is good. We got 2 removal spells. Bounding Crisis can be a removal spell. Naturalist is a pseudo removal spell. And we got a decent looking curve. Plenty of action at 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Wouldn't mind one more fatty, but I don't think we're going to see a late Rock Maulers at this point. I did say I wanted an empath, and this is pretty much draw a card in a deck playing this many dudes. Plus it combos with Dwynnin. So if this is our deck, which is all dudes, 2 removal spells, and a bounce spell, I guess I'm pretty happy. It's going to be able to present threats. I don't even think I'm playing the first Stratus Walk, although I might try to find room for it. The question is, I certainly don't want to, and I might want a Basswood Gorger in some matchup, so let's go with that. One could make an argument for Stratus Walk. Let's take a Titanic Growth here. That's kind of exactly what we wanted, and we can probably cut the Recluse for that. Why, hello there, all of the cards that I want in multiples. There's a Rocks Mauler. And he mauls, and he rocks. Like, we could consider cutting the Watercourser, which means we're basically playing blue for Anchor, Whirler Rogue, and Owl. Or I could just take this Dwynin's Elite and look to overwhelm people early. I can't do it. I've already got so many 2-drops, I want a Mauler. Guardians might actually beat us. And if we decide we want to side into Thopter Spy Network, Guardians of Meletus, Foundry of the Consoles, Bonded Construct garbage, I guess we can do it. Automaton's quite playable. Like, it's almost reasonable for us to play the Thopter Spy Network now if we want to. Let's take a good look at this during deck building and decide where we want to go with it. So we do have to build quickly because we're in a fast build one, but we've got a couple of losers in the deck that we could cut if we had to. Like, Force Mage isn't super exciting. Watercourser is super exciting, but isn't necessarily something we have to play. I don't think we can cut any of the spells. We got a bunch of dudes. We could consider, like here's one deck. Okay? We're just playing all the dudes and all the stuff. We could even consider Watercourser versus Owl. But in this deck, we have 2 cards that make artifacts. So if we brought this in, and maybe played an Automaton, and maybe played a Bonded Construct, is it going to get there? 1 card with 4 outs? 5 if you count the Foundry? I kind of don't think so. Like, that would be us putting this card in our deck to make Whirler Rogue better, and you don't need to make Whirler Rogue better. It's just better. But to fit it in there, we're going to have to cut a bunch of stuff that's pretty good for some garbage synergy cards, which are kind of not good. Like, again, this guy's playable, but our other 4s are just better. I think I'd rather have a Llanowar Empath on most board states than a Guardian Automaton. Automaton. Yeah, I don't like the Thopter Spy Network package. I do like the Whirler Rogue package. I think I'd rather have the Rocks Maulers than the Ring Warden Owl. It's a little bit easier on the mana. And I mean, we're barely playing blue at all at this point. Is there a chance I want a Watercourser over an Orchard Spirit? Probably not. I think this is the lowest spell count deck I have ever played in Limited. I might actually want a Stratus Walk. I could cut a dude for a Stratus Walk. Like, there's an argument that I don't need the Rune Servitor. Ooh. That's Joe, my buddy Joe. We'll talk to him after we get this submitted. Cause we got to make a decision and have 3 minutes. Do I want a Stratus Walk? What am I doing with the Stratus Walk? I'm putting it on a Timberpack Wolf. That seems pretty good if I've got another one down. Putting it on a Watercourser. That seems pretty good. Putting it on a Disciple or a Rocks Maulers or a Naturalist. Like, it can let us get in some damage early. I don't hate it conceptually, but I'm also not super excited about it. Looks like the ground's going to get gummed up and we're going to lose. That means I should probably just cut a mediocre creature for it. Like something like this. Just so I have some spells to cast. Yeah, we've still got 18 creatures. We're fine. Let's figure out the mana. I think I like 10-6. It means that Whirler Rogue is a late game card for us, but that's kind of fine. It's a late game card anyway. Yeah, alright, I'm down. We're going to submit this and see you guys for round 1 in just a minute. Thank you for tuning in.